Where's MERKEL German fury as Macron leads Europe after Chancellor's election flop? The German Chancellor is facing scathing criticism at home for keeping a low profile as she desperately tries to put together a coalition. Mrs. Merkel faces a tough task trying to appease potential partners the Greens and pro-business Free Democrats, FDP, to create a so-called Jamaica coalition. But a piece published in the Die Zeit newspaper accused of fidgeting Mrs. Merkel of wasting time, lacking leadership and failing to articulate any vision for Germany's future. The column contrasted the French president's recent speech on EU reform at the Sorbonne with the almost complete absence of Angela Merkel in public. It raged, it shows the 39-year-old French president speaking uninhibitedly about leadership. And he proves himself at the same time by developing a vision for France and for Europe, which he divides into three guiding principles: sovereignty, unity, democracy. He wants to fight for that every minute of his term. And you believe him? And the German Chancellor? What is she doing? The column even called for Mr. Macron to take over, ignoring an increasingly frustrated country. It noted, Merkel has learned nothing from her debacle in the federal election. Instead, she acts as she did in 2005, after the first time she almost lost the Bundestag election. Better say nothing, no direction, wait and see how things develop. Despite weeks going by, Mrs. Merkel is still locked in talks with the Greens and FDP, with all three parties differing on immigration and environmental policies. And none of the parties can even agree on where the blame lies for their lack of progress, with the FDP and Greens pointing the finger at each other. Mrs. Merkel said in a video posted on Facebook today that she hoped to start proper talks in 10 days. She said, on the subject of climate protection, challenging goals for 2020 that we undertook as federal government under my leadership are not so simple to meet. The theme that is especially important for us is the issue of immigration and integration. These will be difficult issues. Meanwhile, despite rising dissatisfaction in France, Mr. Macron has dominated talk in the EU with his vision of a more closely integrated bloc.